In today's video, we're going to be discussing how to easily go from 30% body fat to 10% body fat. Now, 30% body fat is not what I'd call obese, and I think a lot of people find themselves in this like 25 to 30% body fat range, and they're already like somewhat active. Some of these people I'm talking about, maybe this is you, are even former athletes who just acquired a busy schedule, maybe had a family, just have more life responsibilities. So I feel like there's a pretty big group of people in the age range of like 20 to 50 years old who are around, like I said, this 25 to 30% body fat. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to easily lose that weight and get down to 10%. And it's not really as difficult as you think, but the one thing that it is going to require is intention. And when I say intention, I mean the things that you're going to have to do that I'm going to talk about are not mind-blowingly difficult. They just require you paying attention and doing them consistently in order to get down to that goal. Now, I will say, if you're someone who has 100 pounds to lose, let's say you're 50% body fat, that's getting more towards the like obese side of things. This video still has helpful tips, but this video is definitely catered more towards people who just have like a belly, not a whole lot of muscle definition. And like I said, they're maybe somewhat active, but they just struggle with overeating and just being too busy and stressed out to exercise on a regular basis. And by the way, I'm saying this because this was me. Like I was somewhere around the 30%, maybe even 35% body fat at one point when I weighed 260 pounds. I was exercising, I was very active, but I wasn't intentional. And that's why I continued to sort of stay at this body fat percentage for so long until I learned some things that just made it really easy to stay lean. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to remind you guys of is that in order to start losing body fat or get from 30 to 10%, which is, 20 percentage, that's 20 percentage points of body fat. That's definitely that's a good amount. That's not a little bit. It's not going to happen overnight. So the first thing I want you to get in your head is I definitely think that this transformation going from 30 to 10 is doable within 9 to 12 months. Maybe some of you, especially if you're a little bit younger, you might be able to do this in 6 months. Anything more than that, like anything sooner than that, is not healthy. It's not good for you. So what I'm saying is I would already tell yourself, like if you want to go from 30% to 10%, give yourself about a year to do this and be patient and just know like this is not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen gradually. But also it doesn't need to take 5 years. It's definitely something that can happen in 9 to 12 months. All right, the first thing, food. This is the most important thing. If you don't do this step, you're not going to go from 30% to 10%. And you're just going to have a tough time losing weight and being at your goal weight. So with food, what I want you to do, go to our nutrition calculator, which is linked up in this video. The URL is also on the screen. It's free. Yeah, you don't even need to put your email in. You put your info in, your age, your height, your weight, your goal, whether you want to lose weight, how active you currently are, and it's going to give you a number of calories and then a number of grams of protein, fat, and carbohydrates that you need to eat every day. Immediately start eating like this. Use an app like MyFitnessPal to track your food so you can see how much you're actually eating. And don't worry so much about eating the perfect diet right away, but I would say just start tracking your food and try to stay within this calorie range, because that's how you're going to start to see your body losing weight. So that's the first thing I want you to do. Pause this video, go to that nutrition calculator and figure out how many calories you need to be eating per day to start losing weight. Also, as you're doing this, what I want you to do is start taking pictures of yourself in the mirror once a week at the same time. So if you do it on Mondays in the morning, always do it on Monday in the morning, because if you do it Wednesday at night and then maybe Monday in the morning, just because our bodies can lose and gain a bunch of weight. There's a lot of factors with like water, sunlight, just the way you look in the mirror that could throw that off. So make sure that you're consistent with when you're doing that. Also weigh yourself at the same day and time every single week. The reason you're doing this is because if you start to track your calories, like I told you, you should start to see a little bit of weight coming off. It's not going to be drastic. What I want you to do is start weighing yourself. And if you see that nothing's coming off after like 5 to 6 weeks, so I would start by lowering your calories by 200 and then do the same thing. Just keep weighing yourself, keep taking photos. The number that the calorie calculator is going to give you isn't perfect. So the way that you do this is you get a rough estimate through the calculator and then you start hitting that number all the time. And if you start to gradually lose weight, you're like, okay, cool, we'll stick with this. If nothing's happening at all, that's when you can lower that calorie number by, I would suggest 200 calories. and then continue tracking to see if there's a difference. So the goal with this is eventually you're going to get to a number where you start to understand, okay, if I eat over this amount of calories, I'm going to start to gain weight. And if I eat under this amount of calories, or I'm going to start to lose weight. And if I eat the same amount, I'm going to maintain. For me personally, I've noticed through, 10 years of just paying attention to my calories, if I eat in a range of 2,800 to like 3,000 calories per day, I'm pretty much going to stay exactly the same. So I'm going to maintain. If I consistently eat low 2,000s, 2,300 to 2,500 calories, I will start to lean out and lose body fat. If I start eating 4,000 to 5,000 calories per day, I will gain weight and body fat pretty quickly. So the whole goal of this, again, is just to get a rough estimate for what your body needs and to make you aware of how much you're putting into your body. And just to further emphasize this point, I made a video pretty recently called Literally the Only Reason You're Not Losing Weight, and it's just about counting calories. Go check it out because I think it's a good message to remind yourself of if you're just starting down this journey. Number 2, you must start doing resistance training. So that's either bodyweight exercises or weightlifting. So for bodyweight, push-ups, pull-ups, squats, lunges. And for weightlifting, that's like squats, using dumbbells, doing bench press, lat pull downs, things like that. The reason I say this is just because, first of all, it makes you look aesthetically better. If you are just doing cardio all the time, you're just going to be sweating. You might be losing weight because you're creating a calorie deficit, but you might develop this kind of skinny fat, not defined body. I guarantee you, if you start doing resistance training, you're gonna like the way you look more. And the second benefit to that is the more muscle you add, the more calories that muscle requires in order to maintain itself. So essentially, you can start to eat more while still staying lean. So overall, I'm guessing maybe you probably thought I was gonna say jump rope right away. First, it's food, then it's you have to start doing some form of resistance training in order to get down to that low body fat percentage. Number 3, walk. Just walk. It burns extra calories. You don't even have to think about it. And if you're just solely relying on your 45-minute workout to create a calorie deficit, it's going to be a lot harder. But if you're doing your exercises and doing your workouts and you're walking on top of that and you're making sure to track how much food you're eating, it's going to create kind of this perfect storm of like you being in an energy deficit and you being able to see yourself gradually lose weight and body fat. Number 4, finally, here we go. Jump and rope. Jump and rope, preferably heavy ropes. By the way, the best jump rope for weight loss is linked up. You already know. They have a 60-day money back guarantee in case you don't like the ropes. But honestly, for weight loss, cross rope is the best. Our discount code is do the thing for 15% off, so go check it out. But yeah, jump rope, and particularly in the form of high intensity training, which involves getting your heart rate up super high and then resting and then getting up super high and resting. Me personally, I think that's also one of the best protocols for losing fat. And again, I always just relate this to when you see a sprinter's physique, which they're doing all out, getting their heart rate up and then stopping, and then all out getting their heart rate up and stopping. Their physiques are amazing. They're muscular, they're lean. And then you see a long distance runner and they tend to be more skinny and not really having a lot of muscle definition. So the 4th one is jumping rope, and specifically in a high intensity interval training format. We have the Jump Rope Dudes app, by the way, jumpropedudes.tv. That has every single program that we've ever created. You can get a 7-day free trial on that as well. And it's cheap too. It's like $100 a year and you get literally every program we've created. And I'm also in there coaching people. There's a little accountability for them to make sure everyone's staying on track to their goals. Or you could just do all the free workouts on this channel, which are mostly high intensity interval training. Number 5, stop getting wasted. Just simple as that. If you're at 30% body fat because you're drinking a lot on the weekends, it's going to be really hard to get down to 10% body fat. There's a couple of reasons for that, but they should be pretty obvious. First of all, alcohol has a lot of calories. So if you're drinking your calories and you're eating calories, that's just going to add up to a total that's probably going to create a calorie surplus, which is not what you want. Secondly, we all know this, when you get drunk, you tend to make bad food decisions, or you just start to get a little bit like, you know what? Eating a whole pizza doesn't sound that bad. I'll just make up for it tomorrow. Getting wasted and drinking a bunch of alcohol while trying to go from 30% to 10% is just not gonna work. Honestly, if you're trying to go from 30 to 10 for the first time, I would give up alcohol. That would be my honest opinion. Or I would greatly reduce your consumption. Number 6, stop eating processed foods. Like, just stop.
Stop it.
It's so common sense at this point. But what I mean when I say processed foods, I'm mostly referring to carb carbohydrate rich foods that really don't have any place in your diet, like granola, cereal, tons and tons of rice and french fries and pizza and just stuff that it's not good for you, and it makes you crave that type of food more. If you just stick to eating real food, fruits, meats, fish, nuts, eggs, veggies as well, and like, you know, green juice and stuff like that, I think is fine. If most of your diet is comprised of that, it's going to make losing body fat much easier. If you do want to check out, we have a cool PDF, which I linked up below in the comments of this video and the description. And it's the exact way that I eat. I have like a food list for all the food that I eat, and I have just kind of my philosophy on making eating to stay lean simple and enjoyable. So go check out that PDF, put your email in, and we'll send it to you. And number 7, how to easily go from 30% body fat to 10%. Be patient and stop telling yourself that this is hard. So this isn't like a physical thing that you have to do. This is more of a mindset thing, but I do feel like weight loss it's a little bit physical, but it's mostly mental. It's mostly your ability to stick to the things that you said that you were going to do or that I laid out in this video. And so one of those things is, I feel like when you continually tell yourself that if you get to 10% body fat, that's going to involve like cutting out a bunch of things, your life's going to suck, you're not going to get to have as much fun. If you keep telling yourself that, then your motivation to lose that body fat is not going to be there. Versus if you tell yourself, listen, this is probably going to take some time, so I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to freak out if I start losing weight and then gain a pound or 2 back. I'm going to stick the course or stay the course. So being patient. And then the other thing, stop telling yourself this is hard. If you really want this, I promise you, losing weight and getting down to a leaner physique, you don't have to get down to like 6%, but if you can get down to like 10 or 12%, you are going to feel much better. So stop telling yourself it's hard and just say, look, this is my goal. I'm going to stick to it until the end. Let's do it. Let's do the thing. I would really appreciate some comments, and I will try to answer as many questions as possible. Again, the reason I wanted to make this video is because I feel like a huge portion of our audience is in that range of like people who just have a little bit of extra body fat and they want to get rid of it. I know everyone's different and has different life circumstances, ages, body fat, whatever, but this is like a good basic way to lose body fat consistently, effectively, and safely. So check it out, try doing some of the stuff I talked about, and if you have any questions, let me know.